Hello everyone, Gabriel Lima here. We are about to start our Monday live session, Portugal Unplugged. And while I'm gonna invite my pals to join the conversation, we're gonna wait here for a bit, okay? Just a second. Leo is on the way, and Sergio. Where's Sergio? Okay. And Sergio is on the way too.
Hello, good evening,
Hello, good evening.
and I think we have Sergio as well.
Good evening.
Good evening. Okay, just give
Hello,
me a
hello. How are
second
you?
here.
The
Oh,
gang is
good.
back. To,
You know,
is back
he-
together.
here we are again for another Unplugged live session.
Yeah.
And today, well, I'm gonna let you launch the topic, Sergio.
Me?
Is
Okay,
that okay?
sure. Sounds good. Sounds good.
Okay, go ahead.
So, welcome everyone. I'm not used to again being the one having the first choice of word, but today's topic is actually going to be something different, and in fact, it's actually directly related to this topic that Gabriel just pushed onto me, which is basically just thinking on the fly. And with this, we mean that sometimes the impromptu things happen. We have surprises even while we're on the middle of a tour, things that we didn't plan and whatnot. And well, we just have to quickly adapt and make sure that we still are able to follow through with the same plan or something very similar, or have a second option ready for us to that we can fall back to. Basically, having a backup plan or a backup to our backup even. So that's basically it. And we just very recently had a number of these examples, specifically because of for example, the road closures that happen because of the storms very recently. Lionel has some very great videos detailing those issues. Just driving around Sintra, and not just driving, but also sometimes walking because of the fallen trees and whatnot. Similar thing happens in the Douro Valley, for example, where we sometimes have rock slides, mudslides. We have to take alternate routes, and that's where the local knowledge is really invaluable, because sometimes the GPS they are not up to speed with those things. We also had at the national example, we had the A1 closure in Coimbra, where we had to take the detour through the Coimbra center or take an entirely different highway. Gabriel, for sure that you have examples like that in the Algarve as well, where sometimes some roads might be closed off, some hiking trails might not be accessible or might
Yeah.
not be as safe as one would expect. And so we sometimes do have to adapt. For example, for people traveling to the Douro Valley, well, we're now already in March, so this is good. This is a good thing, because February and March, people who traveled over there, well, it was going to be a little bit hit and miss with the conditions over there, for a number of reasons. Not just about the road closure. Sometimes there's incomplete or missing information regarding vineyard availabilities, which ones are open, which ones are not, places where you have lunch. During the summer, it's all nice, it's all beautiful. We know that pretty much everywhere it's open. Tours are operating, vineyards are open. You can have tours and tastings pretty much everywhere at the valley. You can have lunch everywhere. Just be aware of that rest day that some restaurants enforce. Like, for example, some restaurants have closure days on Mondays or Tuesdays, sometimes both. Sometimes it's going to be on Friday, gearing up for the weekend. So these are those little caveats that locals know about the locations that we tend to visit quite a bit more frequently. Over here in Porto, also very recently, for the last, I want to say 2, 3, maybe even 4 years, um, because of the construction, people who have visited in the last couple of years, they know what I'm talking about. The construction happening in the city it was substantial, to the point where we have some places, particularly in the downtown area, where traffic directions, road directions, and whatnot. So the flow of traffic in one particular street was probably changing every 2 to 3 weeks. So in 1 week it would be going in one direction, in the other week it would be going in a different direction, and 2 weeks from there it would be open in both senses, and 2 weeks from there it might have been completely closed. And so now we also have a new mayor in the city, and he's continuing on the work of the previous mayor. And he's also imposing some new restrictions, particularly on weekends, where you can't drive a vehicle, a motorized vehicle, in certain streets, because they're trying to do a hybrid approach to the city of having during the week motorized vehicles, and during the weekends you're going to have those same streets blocked off for traffic and reserved for pedestrians and cycling. So we have this dynamic situation unfolding in the city. We also have these very dynamic situations, particularly during the winter time, happening in at the Douro Valley and some other locations that might also happen. One thing that comes to mind right away for me is there's actually I decided to not offer tours during those specific days at the Douro Valley, because I know that traffic is going to be incredibly challenging during those days. And those are the days where we have the Grand Fondo of Douro, so it's a cycling event where they basically closed off the National 222 between Régua and Pinhão, basically for the entire day. And for anyone who has been to the Douro Valley, you guys know that that's going to be the main artery of the Douro Valley. And
I remember getting caught by Grand Fondo a few years ago. I think it was the first edition. Guess where I was on tour? At the Douro Valley that day.
yeah, there you go. And so probably you had to wait, I don't know, half an hour, 1 hour for the cyclists
Yeah.
to pass, or you had to take the detour through the northern side of the Douro River, which was going to add something like an hour and a half of travel time just to get to the same destination. So it's not practical. For me, I typically don't do tours when that event is unfolding. The other one is the Douro Half Marathon. It's dubbed as the most beautiful half marathon in the world. I don't doubt it. In fact, I vouch for it. Just running alongside the river is very beautiful. But again, that compromises the traffic on the National 222. And so for that reason, I'd rather not do a tour during those 2 days. So yeah, these are some situations that sometimes they are unpredictable, sometimes they are scheduled, but the warnings, they don't have that spread as we would like. Sometimes even some tour companies, they only get the notice on the day when they are there, because they don't know what's happening. It's a Saturday, it's a Friday, they are operating normal tours. They were expecting to get to a vineyard or to a restaurant or to the cruise, and they're unable to do it. And so that's when we have to be thinking on our feet and just adapt our plans. And well, for even for us, sometimes that can be a little bit challenging. I can't even imagine how it is for people who go there by themselves and who get to one of those roadblocks or road closure. There's an event happening or something, we don't know, it might be anything, and then even the best laid plans get thrown out the window when they encounter one of these, no pun intended, one of these roadblocks. So this is some of the examples that we have over here in the north, and this is, I would say, pretty much throughout what we have throughout the country as well. I'm sure you guys, you have your own examples, so I would love to hear a little bit more from you now, Lionel.
Okay, well, yes, I have a few things to tell about that, and in fact, my recent experience in Sintra was way beyond, well, normal or normality or whatever. But I'm just picking up something that you were saying, and I was trying to do here some checks. I don't know if you know, but well, you probably know it better than me. How is the train situation in between Marco de Canaveses and Régua?
The train situation.
Yes.
It's supposed to be done by the end of April. Not expecting it to be done by that within that time frame. So
Okay.
basically, the train from Porto it arrives to Marco de Canaveses. From Marco Canaveses, you have to hop onto a train. Sorry,
To
onto a
the
bus
bus.
to get to Régua, and what
Yeah.
would normally be something like a 1-ish hour train ride, very scenic, all of a sudden turns into something like an hour
And
and a
is it
half.
is it is it from Régua or from Pinhão that it is suspended until Pocinho, the train now? I've
Right
read
now,
something on the website
the
of
CP website, last time that I checked, they had suspended the train service due to the bad weather between Régua and Pocinho.
Pocinho.
So
Okay.
basically, the entire Douro line,
Is
it's only operating between Porto and Marco Canaveses, so it doesn't
exactly.
even reach halfway to the Douro Valley.
And now you are getting exactly where I'm going to pick up, and of course, well, this is related with the Douro Valley, but it extrapolates to a lot of other things. The information online, it's very well spread, scarce, and it's not condensed on where it should be. If you go to the CP website, you don't find the alerts, by example, that you're going to take the bus from Marco de Canaveses to Régua, or at least it's not something that pops out immediately. A lot of people are booking tickets on third-party websites, which we don't recommend at all. And that is just the first step for a totally ruined day, trying to reach Douro, where things are not gonna be possible to happen. And this really goes to well, to the topic that we are on the field, we are on the road, we cross these places almost every day. We know about the things that are happening, but a lot of people want to plan their travels into DIY, okay, and nothing wrong about that, but there is no information. That is a problem. And then the best plan, and I see people planning itineraries almost at a minute. The best planning without information, that sometimes only the locals have that information, because on the websites it's not displayed in a logical way or in an easy way for people to get access to that. People just will have their day ruined. Okay, people will buy probably the ticket from Porto to Régua, but almost no one sees the information that, you need to take the bus in between Marco de Canaveses and Régua. And those kind of things, well, easily ruin a journey of travel. So that is for the people that have been planning trips sometimes for months. And then on the day of traveling, they are caught into this, and the experience, it's totally ruined. And this was pretty much the same thing that led me to write the topic that got like 60,000 views or something like that, the topic about Sintra. When I went to write exactly what was happening, and I was on the field confirming what was happening, so I was right there to confirm, because I hadn't been to Sintra for a few days, and I went there on purpose to check what was going on. And no one else was passing that information. What most people would see online, it's okay, the opening or closures of the monuments, that was it. But no one was really getting informed about the obligation to go a big detour and to, well, kind of hike, well, a considerable amount to get, by example, to the Pena Palace and the Moorish Castle and whatever. And even on the day that it was announced the reopening of the roads, I was there, as you saw on some of my videos. I was there like very early in the day, and I saw vehicles going up through the normal road. But 1 hour later, the information was only the bus is allowed to go through. It seems like someone got fined as already, because, well, they were just following what had been the information that had been passed. The road would be open. And then mid-morning, somehow the things have changed again. And this is really where, well, with all the knowledge that we have, we are still caught in these situations. For someone that is planning a trip for months based on information online, that sometimes it's a little bit, well, conflicting. But people that plan the things, well, according to all the information online, then they get on the field and pretty much things are not happening, or they have the day totally ruined because they don't know how to work around that. They don't know how to solve a situation, and the GPS won't work. Please.
I'm just going to add one little thing. You were saying about people who are planning things and try to DIY them. Everything that you just said is also applicable for people who are planning their trips. And I have been talking with some other travel planners and whatnot, people who plan their trips using AI tools like
Oh yes.
ChatGPT, etc.
Yep.
So this is also applicable. Even though those tools are great to get you started, they are missing this feet on the ground knowledge that we have, and we have information that is updated, if not on a daily basis, at the very least on the basis of 2 3 days. That sometimes that's enough to just turn what would be a great experience into something that you'll regret doing.
And
So
and
please carry on.
no, and you are really getting where I always insist on this. Um, a lot of people don't calculate the cost of inefficiency, the cost of the wasted time, or the time that they just lost. Okay, by trying to get to a certain place and things didn't go according to the rules. I see people asking for, well, how much will an Uber cost? How much is the train? How much is the bus? How much is this? How much is that? But then they don't calculate that using certain options, they are going to waste so much time, and every minute is counting. Every minute ticks because I wrote an article about this. The flights and the accommodation, they have a fixed price. Even if you don't move from your hotel, well, every minute is counting. Every minute is has a cost, and sometimes people, don't consider the local knowledge as something valuable, but in fact they end up wasting a lot more by by doing on their own and then getting to places and finding these situations. So Sintra is one of the situations that I don't recommend people to DIY because things unfortunately have been changing almost like the weather. Things seem to be getting back to normal. I read yesterday that, okay, the road to Montserrat is open, but 2 days ago it wasn't. At least the normal road wasn't. So yesterday I read that, but I wasn't there. I couldn't confirm it. So I will be there in a couple of days and I will check that again. But this is really something that people need to be aware and always plan extra time, always plan some, cushion of time, I would say, to have, for these unexpected things. Now, you were talking about an event, and I told you I was caught probably on the first edition, I think 2017 or 18, whatever. I was caught on the Grand Fondo exactly trying to reach Quinta do Tedo. Pretty much ended up being left stranded there. So my guests ended up eating at the bistro over there because there was no way to get out to have lunch anywhere. And this was a Sunday. And Sundays are always the days where in my calendar I have like double checks, triple checks about doing tours in certain city in certain places. By example, yesterday there was a procession in Lisbon that connects the pretty much two main hills of the city. And pretty much no one hears about that. It's a procession, okay? It's a religious event that happens for years and years, but that will disrupt the traffic at least for 1 hour or so. That will disrupt the traffic. Sports events, they happen normally on Sundays. Marathon, half marathon, Lisbon bike race, those kind of things. And planning a tour of Lisbon, by example, when you have one of these events, pretty much the whole main area, the whole downtown will be blocked to traffic. Sintra, by example, this year they postponed the end of Europe Grand Prix. There is an athletic race that goes across the mountain. They postponed it because of the weather. We don't know if it's going to happen or not. But that is normally a Sunday that pretty much they inform everybody, don't go to the mountain because the roads are going to be closed. The same thing with the Camellias rally that has been also postponed because of the weather. So pretty much planning to do tours to certain towns, or pretty much almost every town, I would say, on a Sunday, double check, triple check,
Mhm.
go online, research, ask AI, ask Google, whatever, if there are events on that town on that day. And even so, the chances are that on the day you get there and something that was not announced is happening. Like, by example, like you said, Sergio, those closures of the streets to be just exclusive for pedestrians. Um, well, I remember being at Porto and just being caught in one of those situations as well in a Sunday. So you go on your normal route, and then you have the police diverting the traffic, and everybody's having fun in the middle of the street. So this is something that demands some deeper research. Otherwise, it can ruin the whole day. And as I mentioned, the days of traveling they have a cost, and pretty much people are expecting to have a nice experience here and there, and then they can't reach the place that they want to go. Unexpected things do happen. Okay, that's another story. But all of these things related with events and the roads closures that were like the aftermath of the storms or whatever, we need always to be prepared to have a workaround, to use a plan B or C sometimes, and to take the best of the day. But we are the ones that put the boots on the ground day after day, and even so, sometimes we need to be
Oh
creative
yeah.
and improvise a bit. But these are just my take about that. Gabriel, probably you in the Algarve you get caught with something as well. I know you just had Volta Algarve, but that's a major event that people already know
Yeah. Already. Yeah.
what's going on. But probably a lot of people were still caught, not expecting such event with the road closures because they didn't follow the news, or they don't know that every year at this time of the year there is the event in the Algarve. So I believe that some people might have been caught a little bit in surprise for this. But go ahead, tell us about the Algarve.
Yes, I was listening you, and I was remember some episodes in the past, and even myself, and I'm always bragging that I really know the Algarve like the back of my hands and everything else, but I'm just a human. And I remember once when I took two couples from the United States, and I went to see the Alta. I go quite a lot to Alta. I've been sharing about Alta's beautiful, typical village with the falls and the springs and waterfalls and the beautiful hilltops, whatever. And there's a beautiful picnic area with a natural pool when they close the gates with the water from the spring. And I had this brilliant idea, and I think it was some kind of a detour. It was something that we decided at the moment. Maybe we were talking about something, and okay, let's go to a very lovely place. And I just forgot that on the April 25th or May 1st, the Labor Day, it's one of those days that we shouldn't go there. I just forgot. So I was driving there, and when I entered towards the springs, I made a big mistake. I enter, and then, well, you can't do a U-turn. So while I was driving, and then I noticed, what the heck is this? So many people around here. Oh, it's April 25th, so it's a holiday, and all families, they come here for picnics. We have this tradition of the caracóis, the snails, and with the beer. I mean, it's absolutely a mess. April 25th, and also the Labor Day. The Labor Day people, they go the night before, they sleep there, they camp just to get the table. So I was driving there, and it took me more than 30 minutes to do the U-turn. We didn't stop to see whatever because it was completely busy. And then it was a lesson learned. Always check, Gabriel, always check everything. But sometimes we are also too confident, and I didn't check. I forgot it was like that. We ended up having a beautiful day too, because we just start laughing about the thing. I remember when I do mistakes, I just try to play a bit with myself too, and I just look. You got a tour guide to avoid this, and I'll just look where I just brought you here, right? I mean, sometimes it happens. But this was what happened.
You got yourself some bloopers to make a video one day with the bloopers of your tours.
I mean, sometimes it happens. I mean, this was a big one. I don't remember something like that. But sometimes I got caught because some roads they are under renovation. These things happen. But of course, we know the place. I know the shortcuts. I know the gravel back road or whatever. While Google Maps, he doesn't know. And many times Google Maps always take people to even worse options, and this happens a lot. So when I drive here in the Algarve, even in the Algarve, I'm always using Google Maps to know the traffic, the radars, whatever. But many times I don't follow the route there, and sometimes my guests they notice and they tell me, Gabriel, you are not following here. No, because I know better. Like I like to play, right? I know better because I know the routes. But sometimes we get caught. Well, for instance, this weekend we had in Tavira the Algarve Bike Challenge. Because of course, like you said, a tour, like a tour of the Algarve, everyone knows. Everyone basically knows, okay, Saturday we're gonna have the tour starting from Albufeira, it's gonna finish in Lagos. Sunday we had the tour starting from Faro and then finish somewhere else. We had the TT, the time trial in Vila Moura. We had a finish in Tavira too. So basically, we can know this, at least if we are a bit informed. But sometimes these amateur competitions like Algarve Bike Challenge or, I don't know, a urban Albufeira race we had here, sometimes we have even here, very, very popular here, Teodosio, maybe you know from the rallies, we have the Albufeira rally, and some people they don't know where they're gonna cut the roads, and sometimes just some small events like some kids they go run or whatever. Oh, and by the way, we had 2 days ago the big gala for the Albufeira European City in 2026, and for sure we're gonna have lots of disruptions here because we're gonna have even more sports events than in a regular year. So this is going to happen a lot here in the municipality of Albufeira. But these things happens a bit everywhere. For instance, one very big event in the Algarve, if not the biggest one, it's the motorcycle rally in Faro. It lasts 4 days, but it doesn't affect just Faro. No, imagine if someone book from July 14th to July 18th, I think it's the date, to go for a boat trip in Olhão. You can't park the car there. You know, there are so many motorcycles coming that they take over the parking lots because they have to park the motorcycles, right? So the police, they close the parking lots and they only allowed motorcycles, things like that. And for instance, these 4 days affects almost the whole region because the motorcycles, then they spread all over the place. They gather in Faro after 3, 4, but then they spread all over the place. So this is something that sometimes if we don't know, we ended up wasting lots of time. And if someone is spending, let's say, 3, 4 days in the Algarve, and this happens a lot, 2, 3, 4, 5 days in the Algarve, and they want to explore each day, they're gonna try to do the best of their time. If they go to a place like this, imagine, oh, I want to visit a Chapel of Bones in Carmo Church, Faro, and then I just go for a boat trip. I mean, it doesn't work. Maybe they're going to spoil the day. Maybe they can even end up losing the investment. And, well, these things happens. And even us with local knowledge, and every day we are trying to know what is happening here and there. So I can imagine when someone is trying to plan on their own, and sometimes things they go wrong. Of course, then we always try to find we have the backup plan. But sometimes these people they ended up losing a lot, and the frustration. Then they feel frustrated. During our tours, sometimes we cross with other tourists, and we start having conversations. Even my guest the other day, they start talking with someone else in Tavira, and then the conversation, they call me, oh, Gabriel is our local guide, wherever, and then people, they making some questions, and then I realize, okay, maybe, well, they just ended up here because it was just a fluke, but they are losing lots of other things. So of course, we are a bit, maybe a bit biased because, of course, we are tour guides, but having local knowledge is very, very important. And ChatGPT, it doesn't know much about local knowledge. It just knows the general information out there. And many times this information about the regions, the cities, the experiences, they are based on reviews and sometimes people, they write these reviews or they give suggestions, not based in a deep knowledge, but in just a partial knowledge, just maybe based in their own experiences. And sometimes this ended up deceiving other people. I think I wrote something yesterday. Yeah, I wrote something yesterday about this. You know, it's very easy for us to. I wrote about the comparisons, and then it's very easy for us to get misled by other people, not because they try to mislead us, but because it doesn't fit in our profile or what we want to do, and many times we don't know exactly what we're gonna find there. Here we have, for instance, you said something about Sundays and Saturdays. We have many fairs on the markets. They get bigger. For instance, the market in Lolé, it's quite popular, but even other small towns, they have the markets, the gypsy markets, and then sometimes people, they want to go to a place and they ended up going to they stop there and then it's hard to get out of there. I mean, there's always these setbacks. Sometimes it's very easy to solve, right? The people, okay, I can't go here, I can't park here, I'm going to find something else there. But sometimes, like you said, Lionel, in Sintra, places like Sintra, there is no options. Old towns. Now, this is a funny one. It's happened all time. Even last week, I've been guiding people. They have their own rent cars. They come to me, and then we start the tours. Faro, Old Town, and then Tavira, narrow streets, Old Towns. And then sometimes I tell these stories that I usually happens during my tours. And I always remember there was a car with two tourists, and they were driving from the castle through the museum in Tavira, going to the springs down the river, next to the river. And they were going down, and I was walking up, and they were very scared, and they were sweating. It was also summer. And then I tried to help them, and then they said, I don't know. I ended up here. I don't know if there's an exit down there. And when we look down, we don't see the exit. I know there's an exit. And then, okay, no worries. You're going to get out of here. But let me give you an advice. Never, ever drive into the old towns. I don't drive into the old towns. Park outside, then call a Uber, whatever. Don't try to guide in the old towns because you're going to get trouble. And sometimes, again, scratches or just wasting time, or maybe people, they ended up hearing some locals screaming, oh, you shouldn't be here, you shouldn't park there. I mean, so, well, anyway, we are here always try to help people to make the best decisions, and I think it's the best we can do, right? Guys, I don't know if you have something else to add. Well, we start talking, and then
I actually
go ahead.
just wanted to add a little thing. Well, we were talking about road closures and whatnot, and usually when we are planning itineraries, not we, but when people are planning itineraries, we're just looking, okay, so we have these days to do something in the city, in the country, etc. And sometimes our vacation has one day over there in the middle that is smack into the middle of something really important. I'm thinking along the lines of things like, for example, over here in Porto, you guys know the date, the night of June 23rd to June 24th.
Oh, yeah.
São João. So biggest festivity in the city. If you're planning on driving downtown, which in Porto I would never advise, but just be aware that the downtown area is closed as early as 5-ish to 6 p.m. and it's the road closure is going to last well into 8 a.m. the following day. So it's very common. Two other very important dates, May 13 and October 13. Does it ring a bell,
Oh, yeah.
Lionel? Okay,
Yes, Fatima.
perfect. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Another one. This one is a little bit less known. This is more for people about who like to go to the Douro Valley. September 10.
September 10th, it's well, right in the middle of the harvest.
Yeah, but it's National Porto Wine Day.
Yeah,
the day
Okay.
that they
exactly.
treat.
Yeah, it's
It's
right
the
in the
day
middle
that
of the harvest.
the declaration of the Douro Valley as a demarcated and
Hmm.
regulated wine region was signed, and so for that reason, it's not like it's going to be on the negative side. On the opposite, it's going to be on the positive side. So we have this dichotomy over here. Sometimes we focus a little bit on the negatives, but well, here's a positive. If you have September 10 as a day in the middle of your holiday, try to be at the Douro Valley on September 10 because it's beautiful. All of the vineyards, basically, they will be celebrating our National Porto Wine Day with special tastings, unique wines that they only open for those dates. They might be celebrating a new vintage or something like that. So it's a wonderful day to be at the Douro Valley. So yeah, and we also have other municipal holidays. For example, Lisbon has the Sant Antonio, which, if memory serves me right, is on June 13.
It is.
Yeah,
June
June
3rd.
June 12th, the afternoon. Avenida da Liberdade gets close to traffic, and thousands of people line up to see the popular marches from the different neighborhoods dancing down the avenue, competing against each other, and pretty much it's party all night.
Yeah.
So
So
and
I would say that for
that's another thing. People that plan to book accommodation in certain places, ignoring that place right in the middle of the festivities, there's no sleep. There's no
no.
possible sleep to anyone.
Yeah. Or it's
Exactly.
going to be a long walk to get to their hotel or something like that. In that
As
case,
well, yes,
what I would recommend people, it's one of those situations where if you cannot beat them, join them.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's the best course of action. Instead of trying to beat them, well, join them.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Fatima, we have huge pilgrimages over there. May 13, that's the main date. We also have
hmm
October 13. Just to give you an idea, you guys know this, but for people who are watching and listening, um, we usually have gatherings that number around 250 to 300,000 persons on the sanctuary in Fatima. So getting there on those dates, it's a very tricky situation, borderline impossible. Even though they have extensive parking structures, they are completely overwhelmed. So it's definitely challenging to do. For example, one of the things that we get requested a lot, particularly Lionel and I, it's those transfers between Porto and Lisbon. Some people select Fatima as a stop. And those dates, well, it's probably going to be worth to go there, but just be aware that it's also going to be tricky and, well, perhaps a little bit more time consuming than what it usually is for us. But yeah, these are things that we already know. And even when we don't know about them, it does happen. All of us, we can sometimes forget, we can get caught in a situation that is a little bit unforeseen. And so
Yeah.
our knowledge is something that it's really invaluable. It's not like we're gonna park the car on the side of the road and then just pull up our phones, and then sometimes we might do that just to make sure that the road is open or something like that. But we're not going to freak out and start asking ChatGPT what we should do next, because we already have backups to our regular plans, and sometimes we even have backups for our backups. I heard this
Yeah.
sentence on another situation a couple of days ago, where they say that in an emergency situation, if you have two, you have one, and if you have one, you have none. So redundancy, it's always something
yeah,
good to have. So these were
you know,
my closing thoughts.
yeah. And I'm just gonna close with something, and keeping on what you were saying, and pretty much according to what we've been saying. Sometimes we get people asking about the itineraries, and they plan the itineraries, and then we need to tell them that is the day that you don't want to be here or there because they have this event, they have that event. So just change the date because of this or because of that, because otherwise you're not going to enjoy the place. Or the opposite, as you said, you can have a great day in here because you're just gonna reach during a specific event day, as you mentioned, in the Douro Valley. But it happens a lot. I see people booking accommodations or planning itineraries, and I need to tell them, on that day, beware, because this road is closed because of this event. This is happening, that is happening. So if you have the chance to change your planning, do it. It's like going to Sintra from mid-Easter week until Easter Sunday. So normally I put on my calendar, don't go to Sintra on that week. And I'm very reluctant to accept tours to Sintra on that week. Well, there's a reason for that. It's the quality of the experience. It's not the same, and pretty much for us, it makes it much harder to do our job. And well, pretty much it. I'm just reading here the comments. Yes.
Let me do this, Lionel.
Okay. Well.
Okay.
Go
So
ahead. Go ahead.
Eggy is actually Stefan. Stefan, wie geht's? Alles good? So Stefan, as you can read here, we are about to finish here a multi-day tour with Stefan. I've been talking with him. And of course, now he's asking if you are doing Porto area and Lisbon area. Of course, these are my pals. And well, they are the right people for you to engage to in order to have a very good experience out of Lisbon and out of Porto too, just like you're going to have with me here in the Algarve. We're going to tailor these tours with you. So, of course, you're going to just immerse yourself stress-free, and you're going to enjoy a lot. So, Stefan, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass you the WhatsApp of Sergio and Lionel, and then, well, I'm pretty sure you're going to enjoy Portugal. Like you said in your last message, maybe you're going to leave Portugal again. Trust me. So, guys, it's pretty much this. So, Stefan, danke sehr gut. Oh, yeah. Nicht zu danken. Wie geht's? I still remember some German. And, yeah. Well, I'm just going to finish. And today I'm just going to finish it in German, right? Bis zum nächsten Mal, which means see you next time. Guys, I don't know if you have something to add. Well, for me, I think it's funny to end like this. And then I'm going to pass you the contacts of Stefan too, okay? But just present yourself.
Well, as someone who was born in Luxembourg, well, the only thing I can say at the moment, ich habe mein Deutsch vergessen. Pretty much. Well, it's long way gone. But yes, for sure. So we are here to help. I'm based near Lisbon. Sergio is based near Porto, and we are here to help. Well, related with the topic for today in our Unplugged Live, well, I gave my thoughts. So from my end, we're good, and pretty much, well, we'll be back next week with more interesting stuff.
Yep. Well, wishing everyone a nice week, an excellent week. We have sunny days ahead of us right now. Well, I was saying sunny days, but it's actually raining in Porto right now. But it's the only day that we have rain
exactly.
this week over here, which is a big departure from what we had over the previous weeks. But yeah, it's going to be a fantastic week. And well, everyone have a great one. And I'll see you in next Monday.
Exactly,
well,
guys.
See you next Monday.
Have a great week ahead and see you next Monday, okay? Bye-bye.
See you.
Bye.